Bring us your baffling.
Bring us your audacious.
We want your sticky notes, sketchbooks, and scribbles. Let's pin them to the wall, kick them around.
Kick them around, see what happens.
Because we're in the how do I get this startup off the ground business.
The taking your business, global business.
We're in the problem-solving business. 400,000 people.
Ready to help you solve problems while they're still called opportunities.
From figuring it out to getting it done.
We're here to help.
Yeah, we're looking forward to going down to play Louisiana Lafayette after a good win. The kids have had a win is just what you need when you have a couple losses and you start with a couple of tough opponents and you have a couple losses. Nothing is better cures the ills more than a win. And the way the game finished against Savannah State, I think it gave you enough time to just regroup and everybody be productive. And so now that mentally gets you ready to go out there and play a very tough game again. Louisiana Lafayette, a team that had a week off for the second week in a row. We get a team with a week off, and that'll be and gives them another week of preparation. But it's a very tough team. But we're excited. We're excited about playing. This will be our third bowl team. That was a bowl team from last year that we're playing, and they're a very good team. And but our players are looking forward to go down there and playing the best we can play to go down there and and play in Louisiana Lafayette. But we're looking forward to it, and it'll be the fourth of our non-conference games. But it'll be a very, very good football team. But our players have got a good mental frame going into this football game. Quarterback, we'll start Tommy Woodson. I think Tommy Woodson deserves to start. He came out last game and played very well, moved the offense down the field, and I think he deserves to get the start this week. I don't know if we're ready to make a decision on Kyle Pohl yet officially. We got to make sure he's coming back from his injury. But right now, I just think the way Tommy Woodson performed last week, he deserves to get the starting nod. And we'll go from there. And how the rotation occurs, we'll make that decision if there is one and what that would have to be. Well, competition is critical wherever you are, and I think competition makes everybody better. It's not magically it hurts quarterbacks and it helps everybody else. So I think it's made everybody better. And I was noticing the article today of Ohio State where Urban Meyer was asked, isn't it kind of tough to have your quarterback always looking over their shoulder? And his comment was, well, if they're going to play on Sunday, they better look over their shoulder because there's somebody there probably better than they are. And if they don't perform, that guy's going to play. And whether it's right or wrong, we all going through this. We're all trying to find the right mix, whether it be Alabama with their quarterback situation or Ohio State or Akron. We're trying to find the guy that can get us in the end zone. And there are no favorites. And right now, I just think based on what I saw and what you probably saw, Tommy Woodson deserves that. The competition has made him better. The competition has made Kyle Pohl better, and now we've got to go from there and see where it leads us. I think all three of them would say that. I mean, I think all three of them would very comfortably, in the privacy of my office, not in an arrogant way, would say, I think I'm the best talent we got. I think if I do my job, I ought to be starting. Now, I would not want any of our three quarterbacks not to feel like that, especially because they've all got certain qualities and certain characteristics. And but Tommy, I mean, and I think that would I didn't say that to make him any different than anybody else, but just to let you know that he feels like he has that shot. I've always felt that Tommy has the qualities of he combines the qualities of the other two quarterback. I've always wanted him to lose a little weight, get his weight down so he could move better, and he does move better, but he's got to fight that. But anyway, this is not the end of the story. This is just where we are right now. I mean, Chapman's a competitor. He doesn't like it. He's a competitor. He wants to play. He wants to get out there. But football is you go out there and you got a chance to go out there and play. You go out and play football, and if things don't work out, you get ready to go up and go again. And I think that's what everybody has to do. And when your time comes, you need to perform. And then if you hit a bump in the road, you've got to respond to it. And so and that was Woody's what he had to do. Kyle Pohl, to some extent, we've looked at some other quarterbacks because we wonder, we wanted to see where we go with our quarterback down the road as far as a little more versatile quarterback. So I think all these quarterbacks they have to learn to handle it because that's what it's all about. And it'll play out at some point. You'll probably know as soon as I do. We'll all kind of have a feel. I think at some point this guy needs to be your guy, and that guy needs to go in if there's a problem, and or these two guys, or however it's going to fall out. I don't think we can. I don't think we could even consider. I don't believe the overconfidence factor will be a factor. I think the kids knew that not only was Oklahoma very good and Pitt was pretty good. I think we could have played better against Pitt. I think there were certain things we need to do better. I don't think we made it. There's so much room for improvement with our football team that the competition was strong enough that you don't get that our kids didn't get down. I thought we were superior so much in the third game that I don't think you overstated. And we had a couple of turnovers and had a field goal. I thought a field goal was blocked. He kicked it into the back of the defensive lineman, and it was blocked by just being a low kick. And once we saw it on film, it wasn't a breakdown in the game as much. He just had a bad kick into the back of the line, and which is not any happier to me. But at least there's not 11 guys you have to correct when that happens. But there was enough room for improvement. I just don't think the confidence. I don't think the players are naive enough to think they're so good after beating Savannah State that they're not going to go out there and play their best football. Against Lafayette, beat us 35-30. Last time they played us, I want to say they've won their conference and gone to a bowl and won their bowl all 3 years, 4 years in a row. Yeah, right. That's where they are. They are at the top of whether our conference is better than their conference. They're the very premier team in their conference. And we got to go out there and show that we can be the premier team and beat the premier team in their conference. But our players, like I say, so the players know they've got quite a task. They were tied with Kentucky although they were down 33-16 with a couple. They scored 2 long touchdowns and 2-point conversions late against Kentucky. It ended up being tied with I think Kentucky scored with a minute left. They iced the game, but. Well, I just think I think we like I say the game is not over. The competition doesn't stop. I don't want to make this the point in time where change was made in that football game. Given the circumstances that we were facing, it looked like time to look at that second quarterback. We missed a couple throws and a couple of run reads, and we felt like it was time to put Tommy Woodson there to give us a spark there, and he did. And then we played most of the second half back with Trevon Chapman. He threw some nice passes, so he was able to come back in and gather himself. But I think based upon the entire evaluation of the game, Tommy Chapman deserves to start. But again, all the quarterbacks can show some improvement. I just think at this time, Tommy Woodson has shown enough compared to what the other quarterbacks have shown that he deserves to get the starting nod and see how he can do. They're just a very, very good football team. I mean, they're a very good football team. I mean, that's my primary concern. They've got running backs that can really run. Their defense is playing very well. They got a new defensive staff. They are been a consistently very, very good mid-major team. I mean, whether you took it, whether I don't know if you rank our conference and their conference and which one is a better conference and better teams. They're the premier team of their conference. And what concerns you is that we got to go out and play. We got to go out there and play the football we're capable of playing, because I'm sure they plan on going to a 5th bowl in a row if it's 4. I'm sure their goal is going to 5th bowl in a row, and we need to go out there and put ourselves in a position to be like that. So I think that's the biggest concern. They're just a very good football team. We need to play our very best football, much more what we do with what we do down there than what they do. There's not right now he's the best we've got. I think the consideration Robert has to understand as he does is whether we go for field goals or go for it on 4th down. Right now, I don't think the competition has stepped up to the point where we want to go with them. And Robert needs to take responsibility and to be ready to go. Yeah, and so, yeah, I mean, I got to put as much responsibility on him to do his job. He's a senior. He's a bright engineering student. He's going to be a fine graduate and alumnus of this school now. He needs to go out there and be the kicker that he can be. And I've told him it's not the fourth kick or the fifth kick, it's the first kick. That's almost always the most important field goal, not the one that looks like it's the one that kept us close or won the game. It's the first one that you don't know how the points add up. And so, yeah, I've challenged him a little bit this week to be ready to go. And that was disappointing. We had no indication that he would kick a ball low. That's something that we have nothing in practice. You know, if we had it happen a bunch of times, we'd definitely consider whether we kicked or not. But that was one of those that caught us out of the clear blue sky. It's almost like I'm looking for one thing, all of a sudden I see the ball going the other way, and I'm thinking, God dang, we haven't had a protection problem all year, and you're sitting there now wondering which guard or which tackle didn't set properly or didn't hold his ground, and the guy blocked it from his side of the line of scrimmage. And so anyway, we've got to for us, that's one of those little things. We've got a senior punter and a senior kicker. If you remember last year, I think he kicked 75%. He made 75% of his kicks. Had a much improved year last year, and we were much more pleased. But the early kick has got to be made. Demetrius Vinkus. You know, he transferred in from Iowa. He's got 2 years. He wants to be a doctor. He's one of those biology majors that wants to go to medical school, I think, or wants to go to get a degree in something and then go to medical school. Mm-hmm. But he's here because he's a very good student and we needed some depth at that defensive end position for a couple of years, and he really is a pretty daggum good football player, a great student, and a good. He gave us some. You know, it's kind of like. It's hard to explain because, you know, you think of the junior college route that you go to pick up a guy that gives you a couple years. When you got a guy that graduates 3.5 years and is a good solid guy, it was a good. He ended up being a really good find for us for what we needed for the depth at that position. He really had he had some big plays in the short amount of time he was indoor. Richard DeVillis had to go home to his father, passed away unexpectedly, and he was missing last week for a funeral. He's back this week, so that's why he played. But he's done a good job of stepping in behind Pittman and Marcus, and Jamal Marcus didn't play either. Right. We didn't have Jamal Marcus, and so now Vinkus had to play a little more. DeVillis was gone. Jamal Marcus didn't play. Rodney Coe didn't play, and so we had some guys step up and play.
So he's a graduate transfer?
He's a graduate transfer from Iowa. 2 years left. Played very well at Oklahoma State. I mean, we saw Bowling Green, although they've lost two. They lost to Memphis and lost to Tennessee. They beat Maryland. You know, we kind of beat Pitt last year. We kind of shocked Michigan almost 2 years ago. I think we've seen our conference do this. We've had, you know, I think everybody plays. I'm looking. I think 8 teams are 1-2 right now or less, and 5 are above. And it all is this the year you can knock off a Power 5 team, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But to me, our conference, I think of all the mid-majors, I'm not sure anybody's as strong as the Mid-American Conference. Has nothing to do with attendance or all those things that each team in our conference has to deal with. But it all has to do with good football, and our conference plays very, very good football right now. And and somebody's going to knock off somebody, and it's and you kind of sit back and watch who does it, you know. But everybody, I mean, there were several. I think, and don't talk about them, but Kent did a great game against Minnesota as well. So, you know, I mean, so it's to me, it doesn't shock me at all. Every time we line up and play, we're playing somebody in a conference, or we're one of the teams that did it. That knocked off a Power 5 conference team.